Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. In a recent video I showed the fact that I use my traveler's notebook for my planning and I got a couple of questions, and then I mentioned that I do bullet journaling and people sort of were occasionally interested in what I do. So I thought what I do here is just a really short video as to how I use the the traveler's notebook as my bullet journal. So as a rough idea, this is the main planner that I have in use. I also use digital planning, so things like using Google Calendars so that I can sync work schedules and things like that with my wife, so we know where we both are and where what our daughter needs and all that sort of stuff. So all of that is incorporated into our lives. This is more my everyday, day-to-day running of my life in a lot of ways. So as I said, I do bullet journaling. I tried a few other planning systems, different planners, and bullet journaling seemed to be the one that fit the best. It was flexible, it allowed me to plan as I wanted to plan. Great system, loved it. Love the minimalistic style. I'm not one of these people that does a lot of artistic stuff. I don't do any of it actually. I find that for optimizing my time and my effort in this bullet journal, the less I do, the better. So I don't spend hours and hours, doing nice fancy layouts and all that sort of stuff. It doesn't interest me. I love seeing what people do, and it's really interesting and beautiful, and the way that they use their bullet journals is amazing. It's just not for me. So, like most people, when I started bullet journaling, I used things like the Leuchtturm 1917 A5 dot book, and these are great. Only problem is that I was burning through them really quickly. So I'd go through one every 2 to 3 months. My daily lists were quite long, because a lot of the things I do aren't just little, buy milk, go to the post office, things like that. They're things that take often a few days to complete. So having them there on the list, I can see that they need to be done and I can keep following up with them, but they weren't getting ticked off, even though I was working on them. So I found that every day I was just copying and copying and copying, and I was burning through these books. And then my projects, which are reasonably long-term for the most part, sort of in the 6 to 8 months, even beyond that sort of range, I was doing every time I migrated to a new book, so that I'd have these things on hand, I was having to copy so much stuff over, and it just felt like it wasn't quite the right use of my time. Also, I was using it as brain dump. So I'd be in a meeting, I'd take notes in the meeting, and then I'd transfer stuff over into the project pages where they needed to be in sort of more concise, more precise way. So I was burning through these really quickly. I think the longest one took was just under 4 months. So we're talking, a lot of writing in these bullet journals. So I had to come up with a way that was more time efficient, both in terms of the dailies. So, not having to spend so much time doing these daily lists. So I tried doing weekly lists in here and all of that. But I sort of also wanted a calendar for the week and all of this sort of stuff, and so it didn't always quite fit what I needed. So eventually I got a traveler's notebook anyway, because I liked them, and I was carrying both of these around with me, and it struck me one day that what I was doing in here was effectively what I was also doing in here, in a lot of ways. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to scrap one of these, and I made the decision to scrap this style of bullet journal. In saying that, I have started a new one because I want to experiment with a few things and play with it in its rawest, most sort of basic form, and I'll be making a couple of videos about that. But this is what I use now. It's a standard slim B5, or whatever they're called, I don't know the exact size, traveler's notebook. It's a large one. It's perfect for me, perfect size. It fits beautifully in my bag. I carry either a backpack or a satchel depending on what I need, and so it's not too thick. It fits long ways down the bag beautifully, and still allows room for the other things that I have to carry. I carry a lot of books as well as digital things like a laptop and an iPad. Okay, so what I have is, as you can see, 4 books in here, and this is my planning system, and it works for me. So if it doesn't work for you, that's fine. I just got a couple of questions, so this is what I do. So with the 4 books, they're all separated into different uses. Now, I use a mixture of Goulet notebooks here, which I quite like them because they're Tomoe River paper. I have a actual traveler's notebook here, another Goulet, and then a currently inked, Inky Fingers currently inked book at the back. This could not be in here, but having it in here was convenient, so it stays. And I like having it on hand to see what I'm writing with. You know, these are great books. It's a shame they're not being continued. Sorry about that, I just bumped the tripod. I'm probably going to have a traveler's notebook, the lightweight paper one, as my next currently inked journal, and I think I'll probably stick pretty much to this sort of format, except I'll probably, instead of having, I'll probably sort of squeeze things up a little bit to allow a bit more room for the swatch. I quite like having quite a big swatch of the ink there. So, yeah, so I have that at the back, and then I have my other books in here. So, how does this work? Well, let's start with the third book in here, which is my planner. So, as I said, this is a Goulet notebook, Tomoe River Goulet notebook. I really like these, and I have laid it out to fit my needs. So, at the beginning of next year, this is going to be replaced by the Traveler's Notebook Weekly Memo Planner, which does the exact same thing, which I didn't know existed until after I'd started doing this system. So basically what I do is I separate the left-hand side of the spread for my calendar. Now, yes, I do a lot of my planning using the Google Calendars, but what I like about this is that I can list exactly what I'm doing where, and it's a cleaner, easier, at a glance way of seeing what my week looks like, and of course planning ahead. I can start to look at that, which is really handy. Then on the right side of the page, I split it, and this becomes my weekly to-do list. Now, on occasions where I have to have a daily to-do list, I pull out this little guy, which is a little traveler style notebook that I made. And once again, Goulet notebook in here. This fits in the pocket, in my back pocket, in most of my pants. So it's really handy to have the daily to-do list on if I'm out and about, and you know, I have a shopping list or I have chores or something that I have to do. Really easy to transfer the dailies into here of exactly what I need to do on that day or what I need to buy or whatever. But having a weekly to-do list means that those tasks that can't be completed on a single day, booking a venue for something, or simple things like, at the moment we're moving house, so we're investigating power companies and all those sorts of things. I can list the things that need to be done. I can separate them into categories on this page. So, you know, I might have music stuff, and I can list the music stuff, and then I might go moving stuff and have, you know, a list of the things I need to look at for moving that week. All of that. So it's a really nice, clean way of completing the tasks. I still use the key system that Ryder Carroll set up originally. So the dot and the migrating forwards and backwards. I use an exclamation mark when it's something that needs to be done urgently, and I also do a little music note when it's a music that I have to learn or something like that, just so I can see where they fall in the list. So this is really, really handy. Another beauty about sort of planning like this ahead is that in this column I can list what social media stuff I need to do. So if it's a video that I need to upload or an Instagram post or something, I can schedule ahead so I know when I'm creating the content what is needed next. And so that's a really handy way of doing it. I tend to do things in batches, particularly these videos, and so I'm not exactly sure when this particular video will be published, but I'll schedule it ahead now that I'm filming it. Okay, so that's the planner, and so as I said, that will be replaced by a Travelers Company weekly memo planner, which has a lot of the days and months all sort of lined up already for me, and I think a calendar as well, which will be really handy. Working backwards from here is where I have the Travelers Company notebook, which is nice sort of paper. It's grid ruled, and this is where I do my brain dump. So an example I pulled up here was a page here where I've written down some poetry that I was looking to set to music. So this is stuff that doesn't have to be kept long. This is the stuff that once this book's full, this book just goes. So I take notes quickly, I jot it down, more precisely elsewhere, and this is just sort of a, as I said, brain dump, rough notes. So these are two books that in a way can be replaced really very quickly and easily. Obviously, once I get the Traveller's Company one, it'll be there for 6 months because it's a 6-month book and 2 books for the year. But this one can just be, yeah, put away very quickly, saving space so that I'm not having to migrate stuff that goes in this book so regularly. This is sort of the more long-term planning book. So this is projects. Much the same as any other project book, except what I do is I index from the back. So the index goes in the back because you never know how many pages you're going to need for the index. And so I put the index at the back of the book so that it can reference pages earlier on. And so this is where the projects goes. This is longer term things if I'm planning a concert or, you know, going overseas and I need to, you know, I know these things sort of 6 to 8 months, sometimes, as I said, a year or more ahead. I can create a project list, and when this is full, I can go back and migrate what I need to migrate from that point on. But also these are easy to store and reference, and you know, like they're tiny. So for instance, here I've got a pen. I make these pen collection videos. This is the first 4, and I'll list eventually, you know, the next video that I do in this series, and I know that's on page 22. So when I look at the index, it'll say pen collection page 22, and it's really easy. You can thread in these like you do in a normal bullet journal. It's really exactly the same method, except this, like this particular insert will stay when these ones go when they're no longer needed. So that's how I've adapted the bullet journal system to fit what I need. I don't have monthlies, I don't have, you know, a lot of those sort of future logs and things like that, because a lot of that is done in other planning. You know, I have a big desk calendar that plans out the next 12 months for me, and I need to be able to see that sort of at a glance and quite big for all the projects sort of that I'm involved in. So yes, this was my planning system. Oh, just as a reference, so what I do, so to know where to go in the planner, when I get to the day that I'm at, I take the cover of the currently inked journal here and the rest of the pages in the planning one, and I attach my Bulldog Clip pen holder to it. So I've always got the pen on hand. This is just a Wingzone 3003 fountain pen. It's a very basic, cheap pen. If it gets damaged or lost, I'm not really fussed. I use Noodler's Heart of Darkness in here, and then another colour. So this is Detrimentus Giuseppe Verdi, for instance, rolling up this page. So when I've got my bullet journal, Traveller's Notebook set up here, when I need to go to today, it's really easy just to open up and bang, there you are on the day you want to be on. So it's a really easy, simple way of going about it all. It's a system that works for me. Obviously, it wouldn't be a system that works for everyone or a system that everyone would desire. But that's how I've adapted my bullet journaling and planning to fit my lifestyle and what I wanted to get out of it. It's minimalist, it's not fancy, it does the job, but it's effective and it doesn't take a lot of time. So that's it. I hope you found this video interesting. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notifications button to stay up to date with the videos that I produce. Please feel free to get in touch using any of the platforms listed below. And yeah, find me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at @the_offstage_me. You can get in touch with me over there. Let me know what you're up to. If you've got products you think I should be looking at, please get in touch. As I said, all my contacts are listed down below. If there's a way you think you'd like to support this channel, get in touch and we'll see what we can do. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy your planning, and I'll talk to you later.